Welcome to another broadcast of Global TV, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
Hi, this is Ed Cohen in Big Bear Lake, California. It's about 3.5 hours north of San Diego, 100 miles east of LA, and we're up at 7,000 feet here, high in the mountains. It's our mountain home, and we come up here as much as we possibly can. So our special guests today are in the Netherlands, Miriam, and also Jeff, who's with us from Alberta, I guess Calgary, in Canada. So welcome to Global TV Talk Show. This is, in case you're not familiar with us, this is a service of globalbusinessnews.net, which is our holding company. So let's begin. Miriam, please tell us about your day job first with Houck Relocation.
The day job. Well, I joined Houck Relocation in July this year, and Houck Relocation has been founded in January this year. And what we are actually doing is we're a relocation management company, but we are different than the rest. What we do is we have this golden 30 relocation cases per person rule, so that our relocation consultants can only assist 30 assignees at one time, so that everybody gets time to be proactive, to think along, and to do things like I'm doing now with finders keepers, which we will discuss later. But I'm actually the Global Mobility Director for the Europe region. So that's what I'm supposed to do, but I've been working on a lot of other stuff the last couple of weeks. So, well, we'll come back to that later. But for now, I'm the Global Mobility Director, Europe for Houck Relocation.
And congratulations on organizing and getting it off the ground in a big way. Finders Keepers, it's a great name. And so I want to welcome Jeff Houck. Thank you, sir, for being on this program, and welcome.
Pleased to be. Thanks very much.
Great. Now, you've recently been into transition. You were for many years an executive with Suncor, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. And what was your last position there, if I could ask?
I ran our global mobility platform at Suncor, as well as in energy with remote locations. We're big into housing subsidy programs and such. So a large program in that piece. But the global mobility and our project, mergers, acquisitions, of course, and joint ventures globally.
So you essentially had a seat at the table, right? You weren't down the hall somewhere, forgotten.
That's right. And I was fortunate at Suncor. They're an organization that really believes in the value of talent, and they wanted that. So not the case everywhere, but certainly was the case at Suncor.
Right. And you were there for about 8 years, was it?
Yes, that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, went in and we changed it up a little bit when I went in, and really worked to drive the value proposition for the employee, but also as well for the business to streamline that component.
So what do you think about the world today, not from a political point of view or even the COVID, but just from the world of doing business this way by video?
I kind of interesting that you're asking me that way. It relates, I think, to business. Of course, we're doing it very virtually. It has been, we always did this with assignment work. When you're halfway across the globe, it was just something that you did out of necessity. You can't jump on a plane all the time. But it's interesting for me. I'm a pretty outgoing guy, and I network in a physical space very well. So the shutdown on this has been challenging because you're not in that physical space. But I think what's great about it, it's been challenging for everyone else as well. So everybody's gotten thrown into the mix here, and we have to adapt to this. So I think there's an opportunity for everyone just to refine the way in which we've been doing this, communicating and holding meetings and getting business done.
Yeah, okay, thanks for sharing this. Miriam, let's do a deep dive on Finders Keepers. What spurred you on to pull this together?
Well, and Jeff was part of that actually, because since I've joined Houck Relocation, I've been reaching out to a lot of global mobility people, a lot of HR people, because I really wanted to grow my network, and I wanted to grow my network outside the Netherlands, because in my previous job, it was just the Netherlands. So I really needed to connect with more people outside the Netherlands. And a lot of people came back to me saying, I was made redundant, I'm looking for a new job. People opened up, like Jeff said, the fact that you're all in the same situation and that everything has to be virtual really brings that connection, and it makes it easier to communicate. So a lot of people were very open, talking about how many job applications they already had running, difficulty finding work, difficulty keeping the good spirit, you know. So I was trying to connect people that informed me that they were looking for work to people I already know in my network who might be looking for new colleagues. So I was already trying to do the, I don't want to say hookup thing because that sounds a bit strange, but I was trying to connect people who were looking for jobs to people who were offering it. And last week, not last Friday, but the Friday before, I was talking to Rob, and I was saying that I thought it would be good if we maybe organize some kind of webinar or a chat room or some kind of meeting where we can just invite all those people so that they can just chat with each other and see if there will be a match. And Rob said, and I'm always the very enthusiastic one, the one with way too much energy. And Rob is always the one that says, maybe take one moment and think. So he did the thinking for me, and he said, it will take so much organization. Yeah, it will take so much organization, and you never know how many people will dial into the webinars. And what if there are only 3 people? Then it was, of course, wonderful to show that you care, but it's just 3 people. So on Friday, we had the chat. During the weekend, Rob made the group page, and on Monday we launched, and it skyrocketed. I had no idea what was going on, but apparently there's a question for it, because apparently everybody's happy to join. We have, I think, 750 members now in a week, which I don't know because I've never organized a group before, but I think it might be pretty much. I don't know. Yay, I think it is much. I don't know. But apparently people like the idea.
Yeah, so congratulations, and I'm very happy to help promote it, of course.
Yeah,
And
perfect.
I would like to recommend that you let me host or moderate a weekly program whereby you can invite others like Jeff to show up and not give any speeches, but just talk, say hi, and introduce themselves in a human way.
Yeah.
And then, you know, everyone benefits from that PR. Of course, you could do it yourself. You don't need me. So, Jeff, I'm sure you know from all your experience in mobility management that people who are relocated, for the most part, deal with it okay. But a lot of times, I'm sure you and other managers don't know what's going on at home, don't have a clue as to the emotional quality of their lives or whatever, you know. So now everything is so visible, especially caused by the disease. And mental health is not a stigma, in my book anyway, and it shouldn't be, in my view. But it's a true thing. People are upset. You know, they don't want the boss looking into their house. You know, I have pets. Everyone has a pet, almost everyone, or a kid running around. And I view dogs, cats, family members in the background, no problem. It's human. It's okay. So from your view as a senior leader in a very large company, how do you view that? Is that a dramatic, I think it probably is a dramatic change, because in a big company, particularly an energy company, it's kind of regimented, isn't it?
I don't know if regimented would be right. I think we've got flexible in the people space, but I think it's interesting where you're talking about now we've got the employee home with the family, with the kids, with the dogs, and it's a little bit unique in the fact that you know, traditionally when we're moving to a new geographical location, the employee gets thrown into their office, and it's the spouse or partner and pets and kids that are left at home to pick up all the pieces, They don't know what the employee's doing all day. The employee's happily at work, hopefully, and then comes home to this kind of mystery as to what's happened during the day. So now we've got everyone in this together. So I think that there's two things happening, of course, and it's certainly, I think, from the employee's perspective, probably has a really much better idea of just what exactly the family's going through. So I think that that brings to light, from an employee perspective, some of the stressors that that may cause. And I think also from the family perspective, seeing the employee work and what they're doing in a role. So I know it's really close quarters, and that can be challenging for sure and very stressful. People are locked up, you know. But I think that there's really also an opportunity to be able to empathize, which everyone's going through. And if you can get through, I think, connected, part of that journey in a good way, I think the end result, the outcome's going to be there. I think that what has to be in place, though, is, you know, we've always had the destination services and all of these opportunities for people to reach out. I think we just have to figure out how we're helping these people that are locked away in their houses now to the best of our ability.
So were you, as part of policy in the company, in the early part of the disease, were you able to help the employee working from home with a budget or some money so that they can get their VPN up and not share that with the kids or even the spouse?
Yeah, so I think, you know, one of the attributes coming out of a well-funded organization is that we've been ahead of this as far as this technology for a very long time. You know, Big Edge is a very, very common tool, and you can log in anywhere in the world, and you're already in a VPN. So there was no challenge as far as that goes. We were kind of laughing a little bit. You see companies and people are kind of stumbling around with the home office thing, and you're like, you don't realize that many people have not been working from home.
Right.
You know, so it is. I think it's something that some of us have been taken for granted, for sure, and it's okay. But for people that it's new to, it certainly is an adjustment. You know, talking about being locked at home, and then your computer's freezing up, and you can't even get on to do the work that you want to do.
Right, crazy. Okay, so Miriam, what about the commercial aspects of all this? There's tons of headhunters out there, well, without naming any names. They are looking for people like Jeff, and you know, without any promise of service. They just
Well, yeah,
interrupting, and they say, "Oh, I can help you. I can help you." And of course, they're going to get thousands of dollars if it works. And meanwhile, Jeff has emotions, a life, you know, feelings, and you know, and there's multiple players in that world. So how do you keep them away from Jeff?
How do I? Well, it's actually pretty.
Or how do you integrate it?
Well, we have a pretty strict entry policy at the group, so I'm kind of like the bulldog at the gate. So everybody, of course, everybody is welcome. Other relocators also welcome if they are looking for new colleagues, vendors, movers. Everybody is welcome. But before we let them enter, we actually send them a note saying that it needs to be a safe space for people like Jeff, but also people like in-house corporates who are there because they want to help out. And I want to make sure that they are not some kind of easy sales target, that it will become a database filled with nice names to know if you want to sell your service. So that's actually a pretty strict rule. And what we also did is we are not allowing external recruiters to join. So if you are an in-house recruiter, you are more than welcome. If you are an external recruiter, you are very welcome to share the links to the jobs with me, and I will post them on your behalf. But I cannot let them enter because I think that will No offense to recruitment people, but I can imagine that might make it difficult to keep it a safe place without any commercial purpose, because that's what it is. And I think that's what it should stay.
But there's access to the people who are in Finders Keepers because you could see it in the group page.
Yes.
And then if they want, they can just reach out on their own and, try to make contact, and you have nothing to do with it.
Well, I don't necessarily need to have anything to do with it. If that would mean that Jeff could find the job that he's looking for, then it's perfect.
Yeah.
Then it's
okay.
Because that's the purpose. It's not the purpose that we are getting the attention or we are getting the credits. The purpose is that if we can only assist one person to find work in these difficult times, for us the mission is it's accomplished. So it doesn't need to be via me.
So that's got to be really clear, and I see that you're doing that to make it a pure organization, as Jeff mentioned in his program notes to me, and that makes it safe and legitimate, to use your word, Jeff, right?
For sure. I think that, prefacing this, I had the opportunity to connect with Miriam on this and went back and forth. And so when the site was launched, as it were, and she shared the idea with me, it's just so relevant in the fact that I think it's just so straightforward. And what I see that I find appealing about this for someone like me that is, like many, working our way through this virtual environment, we're very clear of what the intent is. So I'm looking for a job. I've posted a job as well because I'm connected in some ways, but I'm looking, and the people that are there posting are the people who are like me corporately, who are engaged and involved, and it's really easy to reach out to them. They're there for a reason. They're showing up with their time. And so I think that straightforward piece has such appeal, and it allows you, Miriam, and your point, the safe space, they're there because they want to be there and the intent's there. So it makes both sides, I think, able to interact in a much more probably cleaner way.
So, Jeff, what is Suncor doing now about relocations? I guess they're not going on, right?
Well, they actually just, it's funny, they're moving some of their Eastern stuff back to Canada. They're doing a group move for 700. They're still doing it. The model in which they're doing it is completely different from when I was there and when I was packaged out. I knew it was coming. They've gone to an operational model, which I may not have been as supportive of. I think we need something that's a little bit tighter for sure. I've been a believer in that for a long time, for the value of it and really that high employee engagement level, which to Miriam's point, 30 cases at Heart Relocation per counselor is just a fantastic ratio. That's what you need to take care of all of the things that happen, especially in light of people at home. To your point, with kids and dogs and stress levels that are over the top, you need someone that's really able to engage with the time to do so.
Paul, let's show the commercials, and when we come back, let's discuss video and more communications, and perhaps, Jeff, how you're going to use video in your job search.
Very good.
Okay.
One of the greatest things about attending the Bridge School is that students are able to truly move at their own pace. Students who are advanced learners can move more quickly through the curriculum. Students who are struggling can slow down and take a little bit more time and get additional resources from their teachers. Also, the typical school in a school district is following state set guidelines and standards, and they're following the pace of the entire class. And that isn't always conducive to students. The Bridge School partners with StrongMind to provide this award-winning curriculum. And with that, students are able to trust and know that they're learning a curriculum that is built on standards that are national standards, that are research-based, and they're chronological based on how students learn. So students can actually go forward and learn that at their own pace and not have to worry if they are meeting the standards that are set forth by the state. They can know that they're learning what needs to be mastered in that course to be successful.
This episode of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Find them at porchlightrental.com.
CubeMonk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by Airs. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com. And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles. On the web at intlauto.com.
As an expat moving to the USA, relocating is exciting, but it can also be stressful. Getting a car, truck, or SUV for personal transportation is usually a high priority. That's where International Auto Source comes in. We make getting the vehicle you want for your work assignment or academic program easy, so you're ready to drive when you arrive. Our product specialists have helped over 50,000 expatriates with their personal transportation needs, making us the largest international auto retailer in the world. International Auto Source gives you flexible payment options to buy, lease, or rent a vehicle from the world's leading auto brands, arrange financing on a purchase or lease without a U.S. credit history, social security number, or driving record, get full insurance coverage, and get approved easily through our low-rate factory-backed financing programs. And because we're an authorized distributor of the world's leading automotive brands, our no-haggle prices are competitive, and the buying experience is hassle-free. We'll even guarantee your new vehicle will be ready the day you arrive. With over 20 years of experience in the global community, we are the vehicle experts for expats. We are International Auto Source.
Good. Thank you very much for your attention there. As you can see, it's kind of an interesting way that this has developed. The first advertiser you saw, the Bridge School, that has been around 20 years and fully accredited, and they help military families who have they're moved a lot. And so they always have a school problem. But this is a way to either to be of assistance to military families, to the kids to continue their education at a high quality level. And it's been proven successful in that regard. And of course, they have corporate customers as well. And they've come on recently, and they've signed a extended contract. So, of course, we're grateful. So how are you going to use video, Jeff, to get your word out?
I think it's, again, becoming more familiar with the platform is certainly something that it gives you that comfort level that you can reach out. I'm quite frankly surprised at how many people, when you reach out and you have the opportunity to connect with them, are really willing to have a conversation. And that's I think it's just really using it. Miriam's a shining example of that. But I have to say that in the 2 weeks since Finders Keepers was actually officially launched, I've had a number of conversations with others who are job seekers, as well as some of those that have posted jobs. And everyone, I think, is understanding that, we need some empathy, some compassion while we're going through this. It has not been, with the COVID, I've had a few opportunities that were materializing and then have evaporated. So I think that's something different that we're seeing now. So it plays on your resiliency. You got to kind of get your head around it. But I think when you have the opportunity on something like this, understanding that there's a community there, that you're all part of this to some degree, certainly gives you just some understanding that, everyone is on their own journey. So it's a little bit inclusive, or a lot inclusive, and that allows you to, continue to go out on it. With the, to your point, how I'm going to use the video and how we're going to use a virtual environment, it's one of those things that I think it's somewhat exponential when you're on it and you're not afraid of it, and comfortable. It allows you to repeat and increase your presence on that. One of the things that I have found is, and this is interesting because Miriam touched on this at the start, I'm great in Canada. I'm very well connected. I was on the board of directors, great in my industry. And that's, again, that physical space. Getting out of that and getting international, this virtual platform really allows for that.
Definitely.
And I've really just started to dig in on this, and I can just see and actually realize connections globally now. And that's what you need. I'm a guy late in my career. I am mobile for the right opportunity. And you've got to dig for that right opportunity to actually be mobile, And so the virtual piece, I think, is really an excellent tool for that if you can use it.
Yeah, great. So would you consider coming on the vendor side?
Sure, I would. I've looked at things. I think I have one of the things that I hold as one of my great qualities is I am entrepreneurial in our program development. I've never subscribed to, excuse me, the standard boxed model. I think there's a lot of opportunity to move things up, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for the RMCs to I think get ahead of what they're doing. They're sometimes behind, trailing on what the needs are. So certainly, I'm interested in just a great creative role where you can evoke the change that we need to see.
Yeah, Miriam.
Yes.
Yeah, how would you like to add to that conversation from a Finders Keepers point of view?
Well, first of all, I'm really happy to hear that Jeff has been communicating with other people in the group, because that means that it's definite that things are happening. Because of course, the only thing I do is post jobs, and I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But the fact that they are finding each other and communicating and finding the connection, well, it just makes me. I had to do that because I was crying a bit, because that's exactly what the plan was and what we wanted. So, yeah, it's perfect.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's great. Great.
Thank you.
So now let's change hats. Put on your heart hat.
Yes.
You gotta
heart hat.
So you gotta have heart. That's a great name.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think, and that's the good thing, because I think the Finders Keepers platform really shows that it can be done differently. And of course, like Jeff said, a lot of relocation companies have this very strict way of working and very unpersonal, and everything needs to be quick and fast and cheap, and everything needs to be done as fast as possible. And I think sometimes it's good for a company, but also for a manager who is managing people, to just give people time for their own initiatives. Like last week, I think normally I'm in sales and I've been speaking with a lot of people, but I understand that now is not the time to look at a new relocation company because the priorities are somewhere else. So now, because I have extra time, I have time to spare, the fact that my employer gives me time to do something that I'm really passionate about, even though it doesn't make any revenue, that for me is working with the heart, because you don't need to make money on everything you do. And I think the fact that we have the 30 cases only rule just shows that we know that it's an emotional journey to move, and like Jeff said, there's also a partner, and there are children, and there are pets, and the fact that when you move and you get a new role, you have new colleagues, you have a new challenge, you have a new experience, but the people that you leave at home might feel lonely and also need to be reached out to. So the fact that we work with heart, we work with the complete family. So that's actually, I think that's what makes it different. If that was the question, because I already forgot the question.
No problem. So from a PR point of view, and just as an aside, I've been involved in advertising and PR since I was 15. What you're doing is an absolute gem for heart relocation to be associated with. And because, the social impact thing is growing because there's so many more younger people in the business world, and not to mention in the political world, and in other organizations having nothing to do with mobility. And they're very much into charity and giving back or doing something for people who are companies who need some assistance. And I would think this is if you just think of it as your charity or your effort to do good, it's a goodwill gesture. It's a beautiful thing. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Very happy with it.
So I really enjoyed this conversation so far. Jeff, I want to make sure you get what you can value from this, and keeping in mind the extended viewership will be. And I'll be sending this, as I've mentioned, to our connections. Our direct connections on LinkedIn are 17,000 worldwide, about 65-70% US and Canada, and about 15 to 20% Europe, and about that, maybe a little less across Asia, mainly Hong Kong and Singapore, but also in Taiwan and Japan and wherever, But about 40% of all those are connected with people management at one level or another. VPHR, CHROs, in particular, global HR title or global HR business partner, comp and ben, sure, talent acquisition, mid-level. So that senior level, the C-suite, they don't have time to do all this stuff, although some do, but mostly don't. So it's mid-level, and that's our general audience. And I know that they'll look at what we're doing, what we send around eventually, maybe not the day it pops into their inbox, but it'll be there, especially about the idea of senior level integrated with other stakeholders in the company, where you had a voice and influence over everything, for the whole talent pipeline, I guess, right? From recruitment to situation to customer care, and then the next step. What do you do with that talent that's been educated because of the assignment?
That's right. It's it's funny. It is an integrated model. You're dealing with new talent. You're at the front end on the acquisition. really on through that onboarding process, the mobility component, and then you're moving them into the HR ops. And then, of course, with existing talent on that career growth or project, it's the same thing. It's a whole new world. People think that if there's someone in the organization, it should be easy. And sometimes it's got a domino effect that makes it even more challenging, of course, But I think sorry about that. I think I'm seeing a lot right now, and you're talking about new people in industry versus experienced. And what I am seeing is the real need for someone like me who has the deep experience, who may have kind of been through something before, or I see that a lot of the newer, younger companies where they've got great talent in them just don't have the depth and the experience to see what they're doing next. And it's interesting because you can look at what some of them are going through and say, yeah, we've seen some of that before, and there needs to be a course correct. So I think that's where, for me in this whole piece of networking, there's an opportunity to demonstrate that I bring that value. And I think when you marry it with the enthusiasm I have, as well as these great companies that are up and coming that want to do something and maybe they just don't know how the best way to do it, it's a great combination. You've got the desire, and then you can bring the skill set in and actually get to the result that you achieve, instead of simply handing somebody a fistful of money and saying good luck. If you can steer that, then you're going to get the result that we're all looking for. So,
Jeff, thinking about the talent that you've relocated, administer the relocation process to, have those people left the company after their assignment, or were they did the company utilize their new skills effectively, in your view?
That's a great question, and it's one that halfway through my tenure at Suncor, we really started to pay attention to. We had done a number of very large global assignments where we were at a multiplier of 6. So someone making $100,000 is costing you $600,000 a year to have them out. So it's a lot of money. It's a huge investment, and you just have a few failed assignees or those that are leaving. It's craziness. So really, the global mobility professionals are working to support this and have the tools in place. But that's where we need to partner with those global business partners to really make sure that the organization is on board with that repatriation and how we're going to utilize that talent. If people know they're coming back to the home location, or they're going on another assignment, and they're going to be, I think, first recognized for the fact that they've gone away and uprooted their family and their career, that needs to be recognized for sure, because that is certainly something that is disruptive. But I think that if there's an opportunity for them to be utilized and valued, they're thrilled about it. Anybody that comes in and lead a project when they come back, and it doesn't have to be forever, but just being shown that the company respects what they've invested in and what they're bringing, it's huge. Every study shows that if you're not doing that, people are agitated, they feel like they're redundant, they feel like they're undervalued. Yep. So just that planful piece, and it was one of the pieces, like I said, midway through my tenure at Suncor, there was a really big emphasis on that, realizing that you've invested all this money, not just for the project, you've grown talent within that organization that you should be able to leverage.
So, Jeff, thank you for that unrehearsed dialogue with me on this. So I want to ask you to think about writing an article or coming back on the show with Miriam or without, Miriam, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
But to give a lesson about this exact topic. And I could, in my network, I have some contacts who are HR business partners. Some of them, actually most of them are now, they left the company, they're working for a big consulting firm, selling back into the corporate scene. That seems to work. But you have a lesson you get something to teach here to, not mobility managers, because I think they already get it, but everybody else in that chain of people management.
Yeah.
Horizontally across the company, across silos, across borders, across cultures. And this is a gold mine, I think, for you. Looking forward, if you laser focus on, okay, how can I expand that thought? And, it doesn't have to be a long thing. It could be paragraph bullet points with some further delineations under each bullet point, but aim it at the HR community and at the top level, CHRO, of utilizing mobility managers, seasoned mobility managers who know what they're talking about, who've managed multiple stakeholder relationships successfully for a period of time, long period of time, like you. This is talent worth pursuing. The relocated staff, you spend so much money as a company, so much money is expended, effort, time, and for what if they are not utilized properly in a mentor role or in a next level of some kind? I'm just spouting off. What do you think?
I won't disagree. I spend, I think one of the things that we see is the stakeholder engagement. And so it's with the HR community, but it's actually within the business as well. And I have spent much of my career really trying to get the business understanding what our goal is, why we're doing some things, and that, the way we're applying things, we're going to get the results that we want. We have all learned that the shortcuts are great at the time because somebody's got to be boots on the ground. And if they've been red flagged on a psychological test, or they haven't been culturally immersed, or their spouse has challenges, or there's, something with education and it's a flag, it may be great at the start, but it's not going to work unless you really make sure that you've addressed those. So all of those pieces, it just looks like little fragments, but we have to be dealing with all of those pieces so that the business is going to get out of this what we need, not just for the short term, but again, growing that value long term so that you're actually getting something beyond what you've spent those resources for in a meaningful way.
Yeah. So Miriam, would you like to sum up about what you've just heard and about where you're going to go with Finders Keepers next week and next month?
Well, for sure, I want to say that I think your plan about asking Jeff to do a show like that, I think it would be perfect because he knows everything about it. And I think the good thing about Jeff is that he has a lot of knowledge, but he also has the social element. And I think Jeff is one of the most flexible people and open people that I've met. I mean, I don't even know how we got together, but we've had such nice conversations. So I think he would definitely be a very good candidate for that. So I think that's a very good idea. And yeah, the way I don't know what Finders Keeper is going to do. I mean, the fact that Jeff just told me that they are having conversations with the other people, I just think it's great. I don't know what it will bring. I don't know if people will find jobs via Finders Keepers, but the fact that they are finding each other and they feel safe, I think that's the best thing I've heard today. Well, one of the best things I've heard today.
So a message to our audience out there, Jeff Houck, as you could see, the name right there on the screen. He's on LinkedIn, so check it out and make contact. Miriam, thanks very much for organizing or orchestrating this.
Absolutely. Thank you for
I
having me.
enjoyed meeting you, and let's do it again. Jeff, nice to meet you. I wish you well, and I'll come back to you with the official show link that you could use, and I'll let you know when we have it up on and ready on our site.
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for being on Global TV Talk Show, and we'll see you around. Ciao.
Great conversation.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for today's Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.